Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And so this is episode 11.
Yes.
And you've missed last week's live episode, but don't worry, in another 10 weeks...
Well, 9 weeks now after this.
We'll do another one.
Yes. That is the hope anyway. Every 10 episodes we'll try and do a live one.
And hopefully this next time it won't just drop out like 15 minutes in.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Sorry. I fixed it.
I blame the cat.
I fixed it in editing a little bit. I mean, you can totally see and hear a cut, but...
Yeah.
But I fixed it. It's watchable.
Yeah, don't let that throw you. Watch the episode.
And you can see how bad the lighting is and the live cam is. It's a laptop webcam, okay? I'm not gonna lie.
We work with what we got here.
And it's built in. I didn't have to buy anything. We're cheap over here, alright? We literally work with what we have, because what we have is something we don't have to pay more money for.
But you guys still came out, and that's the important part, so thank you for your support.
Yeah, thanks for those who did come out, and hopefully more will be able to come out this next time. So why don't we talk about...
our topics?
Yeah, what we're going to be talking about later. Coming up here in a little bit, I'm going to be talking about Shinichi Watanabe, or some people might know him as Nabeshin, a director who actually had a heart attack. He's okay, folks, but we'll go into more a little bit later.
I'm going to go ahead and be talking about the new Batman video game scheduled for later this year called Batman Arkham Origins.
And together we're going to be talking about the new trailer unveiled for a new live-action Gatchaman movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds exciting. In any case, though, before we get to any of those topics, I do want to follow up on a previous topic that had been discussed. Talked a few weeks ago about Disney already cutting all of its 2D animation, which
right.
already in and of itself is a very, very sad thing. Today, the 11th, was specifically the day that these cuts officially happened, and there were even, head animators, lead animators that are actually not finding new work within the company. They are not being restructured in any way. They are instead...
They're just gone.
They're just gone. They're being apparently called into meetings to discuss pay cuts and or buyouts. So
by buyout, what, like a severance package? Is that what we're talking about here?
Unless these are... I've heard it put in such a way that Disney is no longer creative. They just sort of absorb things and dictate jobs, and so perhaps by buyout, maybe they had some animation studio that now they want to, wholly own, rather than... I don't understand that phrasing entirely.
Because the phrasing is weird in and of itself, because when you say buyout, yeah, you're thinking of another, smaller company or corporation
getting
that you
absorbed into the amalgamation
right,
that is
but we're not
Disney.
talking about companies, we're talking about people, we're talking about animators, so you don't necessarily buy out somebody who's already working for you.
Unless, they had a project of their own that they wanted to take from them. There's some names that some people might recognize, some I recognize, but I don't necessarily know how to correlate them right off the top of my head. Nick Ranieri, Ruben Aquino, Franz Vischer, Russ Edmonds, Brian Ferguson, Jamie Lopez, Dan Tanaka.
Did these guys work on anything in specific?
I'm trying to look that up right now, actually. Yeah, they were part of, core 2D development in a lot of movies. A couple of them are still around, I guess. Eric Goldberg, who's a name I have heard of before, and Mark Henn. Past that, I'm not too familiar with too many of the other names, but... these are people who apparently have been around for a very, very long time. So,
but see, the thing about it is, if Disney stops doing the 2D animation, and I don't really know of anybody else who is doing it, where do these guys go?
I don't know. I would imagine you'd start going and doing I guess, Flash-style animation for TV networks, because, anything that is 2D anymore, nothing is done 100% by hand anymore. So we've got 2D still, but it doesn't mean that it's all pen and paper anymore. So maybe they would go on to some studio that produces something for Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network.
But even then, most of the stuff I see on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon nowadays is all done by computer.
Exactly. We're losing something. I don't know where these people will go, surely they'll be able to get some sort of a job somewhere. Somebody still has to draw something. It's just not nearly as big of a thing anymore. It's not nearly as sought after as it once was. So life might be hard for these people.
I would agree so.
And especially if, this is what they've been doing for the majority of their lives, and that's where they were, that's where they were most used and had their most life experience. What do they do now? Do they go and, I don't know, work at a Home Depot after this? Or are they qualified to do something else? Are they overqualified?
Do they teach?
I don't know.
That's a problem in and of itself, but yeah, that's sad to hear.
In any case, it's like Disney is trying their best to absorb all of these different companies and then take what they think is the most lucrative and easiest to turn around and then eliminate everything else that doesn't fit in that business model anymore.
Well, it's basically... it's a funny way of putting it, but yeah, they're basically playing Monopoly.
Just about, and it's sad because they are the big dogs, that means they also have basically monopolized power.
Yeah.
To just eliminate entirely. It's just too
maybe we ought to calm down talking about them right now. They've got snipers.
Not outside my window, they don't.
Not that you know of.
I check for Disney snipers every morning. I don't know about you.
Well, I'm checking for Toei snipers.
Oh, well, you don't have anything Toei to talk about right now.
Not today, I don't think.
Okay. Well, anyway, I do have other things to talk about.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
But speaking of 2D animation, actually, over on the anime side of things, as I was mentioning earlier, it's reported by Anime News Network that anime director Shinichi Watanabe, otherwise known as Nabeshin, he had suffered a heart attack on Monday, and he's staying in the hospital for a few days to recover. And he appears okay. He's got a photo that it looks like he took from the hospital. He's got tubes up his nose, but he's still got his wild and crazy teased up hair, and he's making a peace sign at the camera. He's not really...
He looks fine to me.
He's not really smiling, but,
you tend not to smile too much when you got tubes up your nose.
I don't know. Have you ever tried it?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, a long time ago. Asthma.
It was hard to smile?
Well, yeah, because you got tubes up your nose.
Yeah, but smiling doesn't involve much of your nose.
Yeah, I know, but the feeling of tubes... never mind.
So, he looks okay. It's just, man, that's kind of a scare. This guy is relatively important. At least as far as anime is concerned.
Now, you had mentioned to me before the show tonight that you've actually interviewed him.
Yeah, 3 to 4 years ago, I sat down and had a private interview session with Shinichi Watanabe. I have it in a video, a real old video, from Kamikaze-Con, and I want to say that was 2009 or 2010, I believe. And, he's a very gracious person, and he loves coming to conventions, and he loves coming to America, and I've been to a number of his panels, and now this is the guy who's probably best known specifically from Excel Saga,
yes.
And he self-inserted himself as his character Nabeshin in here.
Well, not just there, he also did it in Oh, why can't I remember the name?
In Puni Puni Poemi.
And
he's there in Nerima Daikon Brothers.
Daikon Brothers, there you go.
He also did The Wallflower and Tenchi Muyo GXP, which I unfortunately must admit is probably my least favorite Tenchi Muyo, but I digress. When he comes to America, he always gets questioned, and I think it's because he had a fairly decent relationship with voice actor Greg Ayres at some point.
Yes.
And together they kind of discussed the situation that the anime industry had kind of gotten itself in. And I loved a quote that he's been known for saying, and it's that my anime is meant to be watched, not read. Meaning he would prefer that his stuff get dubbed rather than subbed, and especially fan-subbed. Because you're not meant to read all of these gags and these puns. They're coming at you quick, real quick. Especially in series like Excel Saga and Puni Puni Poemi. And
and to a certain extent, Nerima Daikon Brothers.
Yeah. I don't think it's as fast as... especially as in Puni Puni Poemi, where it's just non-stop. I have no idea what's going on. But I think that's a fantastic way of looking at the way we bring over titles. That I think that legitimately, for the most part, a producer would prefer for their stuff to be watched. Because when you're having to read, then it detracts from it. Like, you're not getting the whole picture, and you're not taking it in audio and visually at the same time, not nearly as quickly as you could. And especially when your producer creates something that is that quick and witty. Well, maybe not always witty, but just...
Well, no, it's a certain kind of wit and humor that goes along with a lot of his work. I mean, granted, a lot of it is, for those out there who have seen Excel Saga in specific, because I remember that was my introduction to him, it's very wacky, fast-paced, out there, a lot of yelling and things like that, but I can still watch Excel Saga now and laugh at those jokes in the dub, because if I remember correctly, ATV had a very close relationship on him when they were working on the dub.
Which would be sort of, I would assume, how he got with a pretty decent relationship with Greg Ayres, because Greg Ayres was very much connected at the hip to ADV at the time.
Well, they had their stable at the time of go-to people, like you heard them in every dub that they did.
Greg was really one of them.
Greg,
both the Ayres.
Yeah.
So, it's, I'm glad that he's doing relatively okay, and hopefully this isn't something that will, hinder his work or his lifestyle too terribly much in the near future. He looks like he's recovering alright, but, man, he used to make a lot of trips to the States. I'm sure he has sometime within this past year, even.
I want to say he did.
I wonder if this would, I'm sure it would, hinder any future real long-distance trips. I don't really know.
Well, you said it was a heart attack?
Yeah.
Well, depending on the severity of it, that could put him out of commission for a little bit, but I'd say give him a couple of months, he should be back up on his feet.
Here's hoping, because the community loves him, and he seems to really love the community, too.
Oh, yeah, he's very gracious. I remember in specific at, I want to say it was an Onicon a couple of years back, a convention around here in Houston, that it was the middle of the night on either Friday or Saturday night, and he was walking towards the convention, and as I was walking back to my room, and I just kind of waved hi to him, and he was like, "Oh, hey!" And he kept walking, but he was still very nice about it.
Oh, actually, I'm remembering, too. I can't remember which con it was, because he's come to a lot of Texas cons, and I guess that's because...
Again, ADV.
There had been a couple of anime studios here in Texas. ADV was one, and Funimation is still here. But, during a cosplay competition, if all the walk-ons went ahead and walked across, and then they announced, alright, now we have the final walk-on, and we have Shinichi Watanabe as Nabeshin!
Yeah, I remember
up on
that.
Stage, and
that was definitely Onicon, I remember that.
I'm pretty sure that was Onicon, too. In fact, I think that was the one I got a judge's award at, And they gave me ADV DVDs, come to think of it. That was a long time. Oh, wow.
That was like 2006, 2007.
Yeah, I barely knew who you were.
Barely. No, wait a minute, I went with you on that one.
No, 2006, 2007? I don't think... Oh, wait, this
No,
is...
if it was 2007, that was the year I entered as a Kamen Rider, the one from the movie. Remember?
Vaguely.
Yeah, but I was definitely there for that one. I remember him doing the walk-on.
It doesn't matter, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to get across. None of these other people are gonna know where we were when... back in the day when we didn't matter. Only we know that.
Okay.
All that matters is that it was a long time ago.
In a city
about 3 hours away. That's really as much as I can say on the topic. But
did he have anything in the works right now? Like, I want to say he was scheduled for 1 or 2 summer conventions.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know.
Wait, let's see here.
Oh, yeah, well, last year was the last one that I can see that he did. Oh, no, he was coming up. He was supposed to appear at Anime Boston.
How close to that are we?
I know that it was only announced, like, a couple days ago.
Oh, next month.
Actually, this is really interesting. Anime Boston just announced this on Tuesday, and Watanabe announced his heart attack on Monday, so he must be really raring to go anyway, because...
Okay, well, see, there you go. Not even a heart attack's gonna slow this guy down.
Yeah, so, as previously reported, Nabeshin recently suffered a heart attack and is currently hospitalized, And Anime Boston says, we've been in touch with Mr. Watanabe over the past few days since his heart attack on Sunday. He's given us all indications that he will be able to attend Anime Boston 2013 this year. As such, he's in our thoughts and we hope for a successful recovery. So,
well, see, there you go right there. That's a real diehard guy right there. He's so raring to go and get back here. He doesn't want to miss out on this thing, which he very much... I don't think anybody would blame him if he wanted to take some time off, some more time to recuperate, but no.
He loves the industry, he loves the fans, and from my conversation with him, he loves America, too. And long as people keep asking him to come back, he'll come.
Well, what exactly was it that you got to talk to him about when you did the interview?
Variety of things, regarding the industry, and copyright-related stuff, and... what he thinks about cosplayers and people who cosplay as him.
Well, what does he think about him?
He used a lot of thumbs up, if I remember correctly. He was very, very enthusiastic. Really, I need to go back and re-watch that interview, but he was totally fun, and he's really animated. Big hand motions, and very loud and excitable.
Now, did you speak to him in Japanese, or was he able to converse with you in English?
Very little. We spoke pidgin Japanese at one another, and I spoke pidgin Japanese at him, and he spoke pidgin English at me. For everything else, he had his translator.
Well, that's good.
Who I still sort of keep in contact with on Twitter, which is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, you should wish him well through the translator.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, that he'd probably appreciate it.
Perhaps. In any case, there's other anime-ish sort of things that we could be talking about.
Right, but I'm not going to talk about that.
What?
I got my topic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's anime-related.
No, it's not.
How is it not?
Because it's Batman.
Oh, are we saving Gatchaman for later?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what we announced at the top of the show.
Do you think I pay attention to that? I don't pay attention to that. I just read what I see.
Are you even here right now?
What?
That's what I thought. Okay, so, again, I always luck out with these stories having happened just like 2 days before we come up with the show. Well, this week we got a doozy with the news about Batman Arkham Origins.
Ooh.
Which will be the third game in the series of, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, to be released this year later on. The interesting thing that most people are taking note of is that Rockstar who put out the first two games will not be doing this game. In fact, Warner Brothers Games Montreal will be taking over.
It's really interesting because, I sort of figured, well, if it's not Rockstar doing it anymore, then would it be somebody else under the Square Enix umbrella like them? But it's not.
No.
So...
Well, the thing about it is that Rockstar officially gave their blessing to this game, reading specifically from superherohype.com. Rockstar is excited to see WB Games Montreal developing this game in the Batman Arkham franchise. Now, as you can tell from the title, Arkham Origins takes place before Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Some rumors that I've heard say that the plot will somewhat mirror the Batman Year One comic, in that Batman's just got his start as a crime fighter, as Gotham's defender. The official story being that the setting is a younger Gotham. Around Christmas time, 8 assassins will come to try and take on the Batman and try and take him down. Officially, they've only acknowledged 3 villains: Deathstroke, Black Mask, and Penguin. And from some of the screenshots that are available, Penguin has yet to have his monocle / beer bottle eye smushed in yet, so we're probably going to see how that happens.
Huh, that's interesting. I sort of wondered why it would be that we would see Penguin again when he was fairly prominent in another game already. Now, granted, Joker was a huge part of the last 2, but then again, that's sort of to be expected when the Joker is so well tied into Batman's history.
Just in general. I mean, he is the arch villain. Now, a lot of wonder has gone into the idea of, well, if this is an origin story, are we going to have the Joker in this? Now, for some people who are keeping up with the Batman game news in general, Mark Hamill more or less went on record as saying that his performance of the Joker in Arkham City was going to be his last throw-in as the Joker. To which, you get one of 2 reactions. One of, oh, come on, really? Oh, man. And some other people going, nah, come on, quit playing, you're coming back, right?
He's been doing it for a long time, and
he's been doing it for, what, 20 years now?
I'm sure he loves the character, but you can only do it for so long before even your voice starts to show age.
Well, I understand that. Like, the same thing being with Batman. You've had Kevin Conroy do the voice for the past 2 games, and of course he's been doing the voice of Batman for the same amount of time. And of course, by this point, having done it for so long, not just in my mind, but in many other fans' minds, he is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't not see a picture of Batman and not want to hear his voice come out.
Really, the Batman animated universe, the original animated WB universe.
Yes, the DC animated universe.
That voice cast is, in fact, directly what I associate with the voices of these characters.
And since we're going with a year 1 story, I mean, yes, could they still use Kevin Conroy? I don't see why not. We could possibly have someone like Bruce Greenwood, who did the voice for Under the Red Hood, and who was also the voice of Batman on Young Justice, come in. He also does a very capable job, in my opinion. So there is that possibility. An interesting thing also that's noted is that there were games for like the iOS and Android for the first one. Well, for this game, there's going to be a tie-in game for portable devices like the 3DS, called Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate.
Will it function on mostly the same engine, or is there not much revealed about it?
The only thing revealed is really a few screenshots. It looks to me like it's going to be a side-scrolling beat-em-up.
That's a maybe on my part.
Yeah, that's a maybe too, because the thing about both Arkham games so far is you've got this rich...
it's open world.
Well, not just the immersive world, that's one thing. What I'm going in on is the whole idea of I gotta compare it to, like, the Spider-Man games that have come out so far.
Okay.
Back in... Oh, I forget how long ago it's been. Basically, when PlayStation came out with the first solo Spider-Man game. I'm not talking about the movie tie-in game. I'm just talking about Spider-Man. And it was it came out on multiple platforms, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Dreamcast. For the longest time, that was viewed as, you know what, this is the best experience of Spider-Man I've had in a while because it let me do so much stuff. Well, since then, engines for that haven't really improved that much from that original game. You can still pretty much do the same thing today that you were able to do all those years ago.
You mean just as far as Spider-Man is concerned?
Right. Maybe a few, tweaks with web mechanics, but that's about it. Whereas Batman, you look how far we've come from earlier games, where all you had were, like, movie tie-in games, or the one or two animated titles, whether it be, for the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo.
And most of them were side-scrolling.
Yeah.
Beat 'em up in fashion.
And then finally you get Arkham Asylum. When that came out, that blew people's minds that, oh my god, you can actually feel what it's like to be Batman. Like, I can throw a batarang at whatever I want.
It's more than just throwing punches and cape flipping and...
No, there was the detective work, which I absolutely loved. And, looks like we'll get more of it here. Of course, he's going to be taking on all these villains. They say they're going to be showing the first interactions with other villains. More than likely ones we've seen already. Poison Ivy, Two-Face, Riddler, so on and so forth. The only thing I'm wondering is, it was noted that there was a lot of DLC for the last one.
Uh-huh.
I want to know what kind of DLC we're going to expect from this one, because they kind of set the bar, at least for me, pretty high with the DLC for the last one.
You're just talking about costumes?
Well, not just costumes. Yes, there were the costumes, there were the additional maps, being able to play as Robin and Nightwing. And since we're talking about an origin story here, you kind of scale back how much you're able to have as DLC that directly affects the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Robin DLC, the Nightwing DLC, and even the Harley Quinn DLC that came out after the game was all story related. So, how much more can you add here when you're forcibly having to scale back the number of characters because we're dealing with a Batman that doesn't have knowledge or hasn't even met the rest of the Bat family?
Well, you didn't have a huge lot of interaction with the rest of the Bat family in the first game.
Well, no, but that left
you
you room
Oracle,
to grow.
But...
Yeah, but that left you room to grow is what I'm saying. And then, they took it to the next level in Arkham City, and now with this game, which has Origin in the title, how do you take it to another level?
Well, maybe we don't necessarily have to have everyone from the Bat family. Those stories are also told, where Batman is just Batman.
Really, if I had to think about it, if we're dealing with a younger cast here, or younger versions of everybody, I want some Alfred DLC.
Alfred?
Yes.
Why can't they just put Alfred in the game?
Well, they've had him in there in voice only.
Not good enough.
Yeah, I know. I want Alfred there, being all awesome and beating up bad guys with a cane and stuff like that. He doesn't necessarily have to be Michael Caine, because that's a whole nother Alfred. But I want to see Alfred beat up people.
How often has that happened?
A couple of times.
A couple of times.
Well, yeah, Alfred is or was really he worked for the British Secret Service, MI6.
Okay.
He's fully capable of handling his own stuff.
Then how come they don't put him in a bat suit?
Well, it's
You don't have an answer.
Well, no, I have an answer. It's just kind of the thing about Alfred. He very much is the mentor. He has helped out on missions for a number of years, and it's just kind of the thing. Why I kind of understand the question you're asking. Why did they never put him in a bat suit? And I guess it's because he could never agree on one.
Never agree on one.
Well, yeah, I mean, like...
Well, I'm pretty sure... Well, the way he keeps asking Bruce not to go out and get himself hurt, I don't think he wants to get hurt either. I don't think he wants anybody to go out and get hurt, including his master or himself.
Well, no, there was... I know it's not the same thing, but there was that one time in, like, 1960s Batman where Batman and Bruce Wayne needed to be in two places at once, and Bruce Wayne's over on the stage and, hey, look, there's Batman, but it's just Alfred in Batman's costume, but he's still wearing his glasses and hasn't shaved his mustache or anything.
Yeah, well, we sort of let a lot of things slide when it comes to that show.
Yeah. Well, okay, that now that I think about it, that could be some DLC. Have the Adam West costume available for this thing.
Was the Adam West costume not available in any of the previous DLC?
No, similar coloring on the costumes, like the 80s version where you had that very light blue costume, that was available.
Mm-hmm.
But not specifically the very short ear, kind of pudgy belly Adam West costume.
You actually want him to be kind of pudgy, is what you're telling me.
Well, it would be accurate.
Well, okay. I don't personally care for a pudgy Batman, but no.
I know. I understand as much. Really, I'm not too familiar with anything else Warner Brothers Interactive has done before. WB Games Montreal. So I don't know what necessarily to compare this to. I can only hope they at least meet the standards that Rocksteady put out. Well, because the only thing I do know for a fact is that they say that the map size will be doubled.
Doubled?
Yes, that you'll be able to play the map that you got from Arkham City, which is, as they called it, Old Gotham. So we'll see Old Gotham in its heyday, but then we'll have another whole section of Gotham that you'll be able to explore in very high buildings and things like that.
So it's... because that world was fairly expansive.
Oh, yeah.
As it was. So are we starting to think more along the levels of, say, Grand Theft Auto, or even bigger still, going towards,
what, like Skyrim?
Yeah, the Elder Scrolls series in expansiveness? I mean,
well, I think if you're
really gonna be that big?
That's what they're saying. It's going to be that big. And I'm thinking if it's going to be that big, they should add some stuff that we have yet to see, or rather have yet to work with, in that we saw the Batmobile for a few minutes in Arkham Asylum. Let's actually get to use the Batmobile for a little bit. Because, I mean, if you're going to cover that much ground, I mean, I understand Rocksteady's not doing it anymore, but one of the things that was enjoyable about any of those Grand Theft Auto games was the ability to get in all those vehicles and do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah.
So I would think similarly over here, have access to at least the Batmobile. He's got a couple of Bat cycles, things like that would add to the flair of the game.
So you want mounts, is what you're saying.
Basically, that's what it would equate to. Yes, Bat mounts.
Really, I'm not... There's not a huge history of really expansive stuff that WB Games Montreal has done before in the past. Looking at their Facebook page, it seems like they've been following the Arkham series for a long time. Just following them. And
so what, like they were waiting for their chance to...
maybe
do a thing?
Maybe they'd been working on it for a long time. Maybe they were like, Batman, that sounds cool. Well, it is Warner Brothers, you know.
Well, yeah,
so
of course.
They would have the title as it is. Maybe Warner Brothers was like, hey, why don't we just make our own game about Batman? I mean... Well,
the thing about it is, you know, I as much as I like Assassin's Creed, you know they're always working on the next title. Like, 3 has only been out for a couple of months, and then they barely announced Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, so they already had to be working on that. When Arkham City was coming out, they already had to be working on this. Somebody had to be working on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll be waiting for a trailer, tie-in, you know, what's going to be the DLC on this, and especially the voice cast. And... yeah, let's hope they do just as good a job with this one as they did the last two.
Here's hoping.
Okay, and then now we got the sort of anime stuff to talk about.
What?
Man, you're not even here tonight. Where are you?
What are we doing?
We're doing a podcast.
When did that happen?
Probably about 40 minutes ago.
Oh my god. I don't think I'm dressed for this.
For anybody listening, she is dressed.
No, I mean like proper. You know what? What are we talking about?
All right. Well, just yesterday we got. Well, actually, no. Today, we got the live-action Gatchaman first look, and this is a project that had been announced for a couple of months now. And yeah, like I said, a teaser has just been put up on YouTube for this property. Now, before we go into this...
Very pretty.
Oh, very pretty. Before we go into this, we should probably give a little bit of background on what Gatchaman is.
Well, most Americans, at the very least, would probably know it under one of two names, if not both. One being G-Force.
And the other being Battle of the Planets.
But we did get a fully subtitled and dubbed version of original Gatchaman, originally under ADV. And it's like, man, this dub that we got, like, it's good, but because the series came out in the 70s, they tried really hard
to, like, 70s up the dialogue?
Like, right up to the point of throwing in stuff like, "What you talking about?" It was, like, it's almost embarrassing. But if you don't know anything about what it is, you got, like, these 5 costumed kids, basically. And, like, not kids, but they're young adults.
Right, and they fight this, I guess you'd call them a terrorist group called Galactor. And, you know, they're all dressed up in bird-like costumes, and...
all designed by, oh, wow, why did I blank on his name?
Why did you
Yoshitaka Amano. That being, like, the original character designer for all the original Final Fantasy games. He continues to do the title art for all the Final Fantasy games. He designed Vampire Hunter D, tons and tons of watercolored artwork that's just been in museums around the world. Really, he started really young. This was one of his youngest projects he ever worked on. At one of his youngest... I think he was 17, I believe, at the time working on Gatchaman.
And, you know, growing up, I've actually seen both versions. I've seen G-Force and I've seen Battle of the Planets. And, of course, you know, they're all known for their different takes on the names. You know, the main guy, Ken the Eagle. In Battle of the Planets, he was known as Mark. And then G-Force, you know, we had all these goofy names. Ace Goodheart.
Oh my god.
And then they called Joe the Condor, Dirk Daring.
As in Dirk the Daring?
Yeah, pretty close. Didn't realize that, did you?
Why would you change a name like Joe to something other than Joe?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's a name that translates pretty easily.
Yeah, or Ken is a name that translates pretty easily.
Yeah.
But, no. Ace Goodheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway, bottom line, we got this movie coming out later on this summer, August 24th. This trailer doesn't give too much out in terms of what the tone is going to be. They have apparently done quite the job updating these suits. Now, as a lot of people have seen, these suits are very 70s in design when you look at, you know, Battle of the Planets, G-Force, Gatchaman. But now when you look at these suits right here, you know, you can go to JE Fusion or not Superhero Hype, Anime News Network, covering the stories on this. These suits are very, very modern. They look like they could hold up against, you know, your modern Spider-Man, Batman suits. Mm. And the budget on this, quite a bit of it, has gone towards the creation of these suits. That, if I'm reading this correctly, yes, about $200,000 US from the budget went straight into designing these suits.
200 to 300,000, I would guess, given difference between yen and dollar.
Yeah, when they actually started filming this, that is quite a bit of chunk change there. From what I've read thus far, it is said that these suits were made to be form-fitting and allow for the actors to do as much of the action as they possibly could. So they've actually put the time and effort in to make these things as hardcore and sturdy as you could possibly imagine.
So, well, hardcore and sturdy is one thing, and then mobility, to be able to combine the two is
Yes, they say they
different.
allow for quite a bit of mobility, allowing for the actors to fly around the shoot freely.
Huh, fly. Actors can't fly.
You might believe they can fly. No, that's a tagline for Superman, I'm sorry. But, now, the thing about it, looking at these costumes, yes, they've modernized them quite a bit. The bird feathering on the capes are gone. I'm just glad they kept the capes, for one thing.
I'm a little sad to see that the standard bird design is somewhat gone.
Well, it's not gone, it's just muted. If you look at their helmets, we're looking at the close-ups here, you can still see the basic colorization on the helmets of, okay, yeah, that's kind of the same. The biggest change is what they did to June the Swan, who has gone from her white and pink to more of a black and purple.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
That one I'm the most, I don't want to say upset nearly, because I think it still looks cool. Mm-hmm. It's just not the original. Really, when I'm looking at these costumes, they remind me of the, failed, never quite got off the ground CG movie that the company that did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a couple years back was going to do.
As well as Astro Boy.
Yeah, Imaji, right?
Yeah.
Now, the suits
were they Chinese or were they Taiwanese?
I want to say Taiwanese.
Whatever, they spoke Chinese.
Point being, there was a trailer released for that movie, and they were very gung-ho about making that movie. And then, as history tells, Imaji just went under.
Well, Astro Boy sort of tanked them, because, what else did it go up against? Well, for one, it was, during Christmas time, and I want to say it was also up against a Disney movie of some variety, and I can't rightly remember. That, and I've always sort of had a problem with animated movies that use live-action actors as their voice actors, because those are two totally different fields. If you haven't done a lot of voice acting, even though you've done either stage or on-camera acting, it's just not the same thing, because, when you're in front of people, you don't necessarily rely on your voice so very much. You've got the whole rest of your body to tell the audience what it is you're trying to convey, but when all you have is your voice, that's totally different. Which is why Nicolas Cage was an absolutely terrible choice to put in.
Well, Nicolas Cage in movies is its whole argument in and of itself. Luckily, we know that this Gatchaman project will be Nicolas Cage free. Cage-free birds is what I'm telling you right now.
Oh, good. Somebody finally let his hair go.
Yeah.
Set that hair free!
But yes, looking at this cast, I'm very pleased with the cast. Leading off the cast in the role of Ken the Eagle is Tori Matsuzaka, who people will know from Samurai Sentai Shinkenger as Shinken Red. So he's very much already used to leading a team. He said in an early interview for the movie that the work he did on Shinkenger was the best kind of training he could get to work on a project like this, which is very much Tokusatsu, just on a higher level of budget and production.
Uh-huh.
And then rounding out the cast, we've got Go Ayano as Joe, Ayame Goriki as June, Tatsuomi Hamada as Jinpei, and Ryohei Suzuki as Ryu. And most of these people are voice actors in dramas over there in Japan. This, for a lot of them, this will be probably the first big budget movie they'll ever have worked on. And the thing about it is, I'm very much looking forward to this, because the level of professionalism that has been shown in anime to live action adaptations over the last couple of years is nothing short of amazing to me. How faithful they're being to adaptations over there in Japan, whereas over here in America, we've still got people arguing that we're still not going to be doing Superman right.
To be fair, we've never quite done Superman right.
No, I disagree. 1979, Christopher Reeve, they got it right. that was Superman.
Close enough. It's about as close as we're ever gonna get.
Yeah. Whereas...
It's about as Boy Scout as we're ever gonna get. And then ever since then, it was like, oh no, we need to treat Superman like he's a fallen person like everybody else. And it's dark, and he's got problems. And
well, it's like, no, he was meant to be an ideal. He's somebody who's not necessarily real. I mean, granted, I understand how much they want to base that in realism. Here, it's not necessarily the same argument. They're very much buying into the fact that, hey, these are 5, relatively young people who are going to be in, skin-tight suits and capes.
Who got chosen by a scientist
to
do weird things. Like, it's obviously unrealistic.
But like I've said about some other projects, it's always a better product when you're able to fully when the actor fully buys in. That allows you to fully buy in. Even as recently as Ace Attorney. I mean, I know that's not anime, but that adaptation, you see how very much, even in those trailers, those actors have bought in. You're
talking about the movie.
Yes, I'm talking specifically about the movie. You see how they have bought into those roles, and they're not concerned with how loud the colors on their costumes are, how crazy their hair looks. No, they're playing it like this is the role of a lifetime.
Or the fact that this courtroom suddenly has, 3D imagery of all the evidence flying around everywhere. No, this is how court works, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
I believe it.
I believe it, too.
I want to sit in that courtroom.
I would sit in that courtroom.
I'd settle just to watch the movie.
Yeah, that would be nice. If somebody could just... As a personal favor, if anybody out there knows whether or not Ace Attorney is actually ever going to get a DVD release over here, please let us know.
We want a legal version, by the way. Obviously, we could just torrent it. We don't want to. We want somebody to finally just be like, hey, we'll license that sucker. It will sell. We will make money. Here, let us give you a product for your money.
Exactly. The same thing could be said about Rurouni Kenshin. Warner Brothers actually was working with the Japanese studio actually, no, I think it was Warner Brothers Japan. They were working on international distribution rights, and they had already shown it over in the Philippines and some other countries. And I believe there might have been one or two showings over here, specifically out in California, and then from there, I don't know what happened. But as far as Gatchaman is concerned, will they internationally distribute this? I would like it if they would. I'm not going to hold my breath.
This one I'm less confident on. Although, well,
because the thing about
considering it's been released no less than 3 times.
No less than 3 times over here. G-Force, Battle of the Planets, and even, I almost forgot to mention, Eagle Riders was another incarnation of it.
It was?
Yeah. That was another one. This is a property that more people are familiar with than, say, something like Kenshin, or even Gantz got released over here in for that one night only thing with Fandango.
Yeah.
And even that, you got to admit, was a pretty good adaptation.
Well, the first movie, anyway.
The first movie, we didn't get to see the second one.
No, the second one looked bizarre as heck, and I wasn't too terribly.
Well, they even said they were going in a different direction with that. But those things having been said, I think that there would be enough of a, I don't want to say niche, I guess, yeah, there would be a nostalgia factor to bringing Gatchaman over here and possibly either subbing it or dubbing it.
I suppose it could even go to a generation slightly older than ourselves for those people who watched Battle of the Planets.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, even then, we still got a lot of things to look forward to. We've got a look at the suits. We've got to look at the actors. We still have to see what, Galactor looks like, all the different grunts, and, of course, one of the big ticket items, the God Phoenix, how that's going to look. Full size on the screen, and going into full Phoenix mode.
Of course, it'll all be CG and...
Well, yeah, of course, but...
very unrealistic looking, but this whole thing looks unrealistic, and it looks like it's supposed to, so...
Well, unrealistic, but it still looks, bottom line, cool.
Yeah, it just plain looks shiny and cool. What's up with all these English quotes that's next to these people's faces?
Well, I guess to kind of wrap up this topic, individual profile shots were put out for the main 5 actors, and each of them seems to have some sort of an English phrase on them that I guess has something to do with their characterization or what the movie's going to be about. Like, in specific, we have Ken here. It's got his name, and then underneath, Judgment is coming.
Well, that sounds pretty normal.
Well, yeah, fighting for justice and freeing people from Galacta are okay, fine. June the Swan, the great gig in the sky. Huh?
Well, it's sort of English still.
Okay, Jinpei, Lark's tongues in aspic?
What? No, that's...
What does that even mean?
I think they just used words, letters in combination to make something that looks like
Ryu.
a word.
Ride the Lightning.
Haven't you ever heard Ride the Lightning before?
Does that mean like he's doing acid or something?
No, it's just a thing. Never mind.
George. Starless and Bible Black. Whoa, okay, back the train up here. I don't know what Bible Black has to do with Gatchaman. I mean, they were both animated, but those are 2 completely different things.
Wildly different audiences. Or maybe not so wildly different.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is hentai.
Oh, well, now you went and blatantly said what it was.
Yeah.
Good job.
Some people might not know.
Don't look up Bible Black if you
do
don't
yourself
know
a favor,
what
and
it
if
is.
you already know, you get the joke.
You're laughing to yourself. You got a friend sitting in the room right now going, "No, come on, man, tell me, what's Bible Black?" and you're laughing going, "You want to know what Bible Black is?" And dude, you who are listening...
And ask that question, you have brought the next 30 minutes on yourself.
Now, if you want to look up Boku no Pico...
Hey, we don't need to go there. Let's keep it clean here.
No, instead I would actually suggest you watch this one guy ranting and raving and screaming about what Boku no Pico is on YouTube.
Great, and now that phrase, that title has infected the sanctity of this podcast.
I'm pretty sure you can find it under Don't Watch Boku no Pico.
Which I am emphatically saying, don't watch.
Same with Bible Black.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't understand why, who was it, George?
Yeah, George.
Why George? How is that associated with George?
I don't know.
I don't want to know what he's interested in outside of Gatchaman, alright?
Yeah, like, just wear a bird suit.
Actually, I have a question before we wrap this all up. Are they all gonna be wearing t-shirts with their numbers all over them? Just like always? Because, I always thought that was like, it's very telling of who you are outside of suit.
I would actually like that. Well, 2 things that I can't tell is I can't tell that they are going to dress like that out of costume, and the other thing being is, they've still got the G logo, but I always like that bird kind of logo that was on their chests.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Where's the bird element? I don't see it nearly as strongly.
Well, hopefully, with the coming months, we'll get to see more of that.
Yay!
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. That's really about it for now,
Yeah, that's probably gonna do it.
Alright, well, thanks for listening to us, you guys.
I know that was a little weird there, but hopefully you'll stick with us till next week.
We haven't...
Please.
I hope we haven't scared everybody off.
Oh, I hope we haven't.
No Pico.
Don't! What is your problem? Oh my god. Alright, well anyway, for those of you who still want to listen or follow us during the week, we're both on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at MarsGirlProd.
And until next time, this has been Beyond the Black Rims, episode 11, with Josh Knight the First.
And Mars Girl. And we'll see you again next week.
Don't watch Boku no Pico.
Take care, guys.